Oh, stressful. I probably cry just about every day just because, again, I have imposter syndrome. I have anxiety.
Because when I hear people use imposter syndrome, it scares me sometimes. You know why? It's because it's like you're looking for validation from all these other strangers instead of just validation from yourself.
That's always the first thing that people look at when they see you. They look at your skin, they look at your face.
I want to welcome you to the Content Aesthetic Show, where we take different med spa owners, different aesthetic professionals, and allow them to share their stories so they could inspire you and help you impact on a whole nother level. And on today's episode, we have Takiya Monet. How
Hi.
are you?
I am doing good. How are you?
I'm blessed. I cannot complain.
I love that.
Before I get started, I always love to know is what is it that you do to make an impact in your community with your business?
So, being that I own a spa, I transform lives by way of advanced skincare treatments. So, myself personally, I have had experience and I still experience, acne as far as small papules, big papules, and all that good stuff. So, I know the toll that it can take on your confidence. And so, once I learned how to, treat certain skincare conditions, it helps me to, increase the confidence in everyone else.
I love that. Did you suffer with acne as a kid?
It started maybe around like middle school, so I would say yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How was that for you, like middle school, high school? I know kids can be so mean.
It was embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. That's always the first thing that people look at when they see you. They look at your skin, they look at your face, your teeth, and all that stuff. So it was definitely, like I said, it took a toll on my confidence, and it took a long time for me to crawl out of that space.
That's real big. So when you were younger, did people pick on you? Did people talk about you?
So funny enough, like I was never, bullied or anything like that, but I actually would have family members say, "Oh yeah, you need to do something about your skin. Here, let me buy you some Proactive," and totally like just ruin my skin even more. But so things like that coming from your family, it definitely,
it hurts worse.
Exactly.
So when did you realize like I have to take control of this?
I would say starting college, because I feel like that's when you're becoming into your adult self.
Yeah.
So you do kind of want to, change things up and present yourself in a different type of light. Especially me coming from California all the way to Texas. That was just, the perfect time to reinvent yourself. So I would say like freshman year in college.
And what were you doing then to like take control?
I was on YouTube looking at all these beauty gurus and a lot of crap. I was buying a lot of crap that random people on the internet were recommending. So that honestly didn't go well, but that's kind of where I started off with the whole skincare journey.
I think that's big, right? Because what if you would have bought something that wasn't crap, and then you probably wouldn't be on the journey that you own today.
Right.
So it's like that was your gift. Like you kept buying the wrong stuff. But I think the biggest thing was that you was investing in yourself to help yourself. Sometimes some people just let the scars of other people's words, just build in them. And so you didn't allow that to happen. And so tell me what that process like for you to start your spa.
So I always tell people it actually happened on accident. So I even got into the industry on accident. So I was going to school for criminology.
What that mean?
I wanted to be a forensic scientist. So I was in the criminal justice program. Okay. And I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do as far as a career. And so once I realized that, I decided to take a break from school. I had my whole first year paid for because I did graduate valedictorian.
Okay.
I'm a smart girl. So once I left school, I was actually really good with makeup. So I said, okay, let me go to school, do makeup on the side. And then once I figure out what I wanted to do for school, I can pay for it. Once I got to school, we had a makeup day and learned nothing about makeup, but it was a blessing in disguise because I learned how to clear my skin. So honestly, it kind of just snowballed from there. I worked at a few different med spas and, day spas, and I got done dirty at my last job. And so I literally had 2 weeks to pick myself up and find somewhere to work out of. So I signed a lease for a salon suite, and the rest was history.
I love that. How important was it for you to actually become your own first client?
It was very important because I do suffer from imposter syndrome. So I would have never felt confident enough to start taking clients knowing that I didn't know how to take care of myself.
Yeah.
So being that, I can do that, I definitely feel a lot more confident in my treatment room.
I think that's big because it's like, if you know you went through all of this for a long time, like a long time, and you was able to solve it, you got to think about some of them other people that's going through it and been going through it, and nobody telling them, oh, you're beautiful. Everybody might not even be saying nothing, but you might be just thinking that they looking at you wrong. They looking
Anxiety.
at you funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
To know that you can actually fix that. And you can make them, whatever time of their life now, you can make them feel like the best version of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's real big. And when we got into the aesthetics, we realized how powerful y'all are, how leaders y'all are, servant leaders. Like majority of the people, I said majority, there's still some that didn't, but majority of the people that got into this industry, they got into the industry to actually solve a problem.
Right.
And help others.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't a lot of money attached to it when you're getting started. So It's like you really got to care about helping others. And I think that's the biggest. And for you to be your first client, and for you to realize everything that people said about you when you was younger wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
Because like beauty is from internal, and I don't think a lot of people understand that first.
Yes.
And so for you, when you got done dirty, sometimes we look at like, man, that person did me wrong, or God was telling us it's time to go on our own.
It's time. That was a push that I needed.
Yeah, because we could get comfortable.
And I was.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that 2 weeks like for you mentally?
Oh, stressful. I probably cried just about every day, just because, again, I have imposter syndrome. I have anxiety. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pull this off. But, you stick to it because you really don't have any other options. You don't have a plan B. So, you have to go through with it, right? But surprisingly, as soon as I opened up my books, I was booked completely solid. Mm-hmm. So that just goes to show me that, I'm in the right path.
Yeah. Can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
What is imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome is when you feel or you don't see yourself the way everybody else sees you. Mm-hmm. So me being young, people are surprised when I tell them I opened my spa when I was 20 years old. So I'm 24 now. And you don't see yourself the way that everybody else sees you. So I am successful, but sometimes it's hard for you to see that for yourself, just because, like you said, all the things that you hear growing up, sometimes it does still stick with you.
Yeah, because when I hear people use imposter syndrome, it scares me sometimes. You know why? It's because it's like you're looking for validation from all these other strangers instead of just validation from yourself. Mm-hmm. And so it's like you're allowing other people to hold the power on your destiny and your journey when you shouldn't. Mm-hmm. Because how you going to look at yourself going to always be different from how other people look at you. Mm-hmm. It's never going to be the same. You know why? Because other people only put themselves first. They don't put you first. Mm-hmm. So you got to always put you first. And sometimes you're like, well, I don't know as much as this person. Also, that person might not know as much as you think, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I think the biggest thing with imposter syndrome, I tell people, stop comparing yourself to others. Stop using imposter syndrome as a wheelchair, and start believing in yourself, because in order to be an entrepreneur, number one, you got to have courage.
You have to.
Because who said they're going to start a business to solve other people's problems?
Right.
Because that's all entrepreneurship is. And so it's like, don't think about what other people think about you. Think about what you think about you and your legacy and your journey and how you're going to make a difference in the world. Because once you paint that picture clear enough, the world going to see the same picture you see anyway. Mm-hmm. And so how are you now with imposter syndrome mentally thinking about it?
I'm doing a lot better because, like you said, I can't allow other people to dictate my destiny. And that's what I did for so long. Going to college, that was, my dream. But once I decided to pivot, I was met with a lot of resistance from my family. And so it was kind of I say a little bit discouraging because, you know, you've always had that type of support and then all of a sudden you kind of don't. So it does, you know, do something to your mental. But like I said, I can't let anybody figure out my life for me. So I decided to go on my path and look where I am now.
I love that. And when you had to find that space in 2 weeks, like what was some of the things you was looking at? Because there's some aesthetic professionals that might be watching this that might be in a position that they're uncomfortable, but they might be too scared to leave because they think they're going to fall on their face. They think that they need that person. They think their bills is going to be just piling up on them. Like, what did you do to find that location?
Stayed up all night, every night, making sure that I was making those meetings. Hey, can I come see your space? Can you tell me anything about your location? Is this going to be ideal for somebody first starting out? My first space that I had was a salon suite. Yeah. I was paying $327 a week. Yeah. Not knowing that I had clients. And so even like my mom, she was like, I don't think you should do that. Like, that's such a big leap. Like, how are you going to make that money? And I was like, girl, I don't know, but I did it. Yeah.
So what did you end up transitioning to now?
So now I have a 4 treatment room space in the Heights of Houston, which is a pretty affluent area. Yeah. But we're actually about to move out of there as well. So I am looking for another space, but bigger and better for sure.
So what was that mindset now? Because now 9 times out of 10, what your rent is probably 3 times what it was when you first got started.
Surprisingly, it's only like $300 more.
Oh my gosh.
So also too, when you realize how you can kind of transform a space and just make it your own, you realize you don't have to be in those super duper expensive, you know, little small cramped rooms. Cause I mean, the salon suite life was cool, but it's so cramped around. Like all my clients know, like I was bumping into stuff every 2 seconds. Like we had to scoot around each other. So it's, you have to make your space work for you.
I love it. You wanna know what's so crazy? Every person I ever heard go from a suite to a commercial space, right? The price is never a big difference. It's always hundreds of dollars. I think it's the mindset. It's like, oh, I gotta start here. Mm-hmm. Oh, they not gonna allow me my financials. Oh, I think it's too much space. I don't think I can afford it.
Right.
It's mindset. Mm-hmm. So what gave you that courage to say, I need to go to a commercial space?
My clients. Yeah. I just know that they deserve more than to have to, you know, scoot around. Yeah. And I mean, my whole brand is luxury corrective skincare. So I had to provide that. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's kind of what gave me the courage.
Did it hurt you being in the suite, promoting luxury?
No, because the salon suites are luxury. They come with, you know, you can buzz people in. You can put a chandelier. You can pretty much decorate how you want to. I would just say the space for what you're paying for is just not worth it.
I love that. And how did you go about hiring team members?
So I actually hired my first team member not even a year into be open, just because I was that overwhelmed being booked out. And so again, I had that 1 treatment room. So we would just take turns going in on certain days. Sometimes I'll do 3 hours. She come in to do the last, you know, few. And then once we, you know, transitioned to the other space, like everybody had their own room. So it was a lot more, you know, just easy, cohesive. We were able to actually work together instead of just, okay, let me know when you're done. Like, you know.
I think that's big. So how many employees you have now?
So right now I actually don't have any employees. Okay. I'm going through a transition right now.
Break that down. What the transition mean?
So I just kind of feel like I grew out of this space that I'm in right now. So that's why I'm looking for another space. I've also noticed that because I'm kind of pivoting to another direction as far as I'm actually about to go back to school for chemistry. Mm-hmm. But I'm pivoting to a new direction just as far as like the type of clientele that I'm servicing. And I'm actually getting into doing more traveling spa lounges. Mm-hmm. And so I realized that sometimes everybody kind of can't go.
100%.
So sometimes you do have to make those hard decisions and, you know, make those transitions to make it work out.
I think, I knew you was gonna say that, and because when you said you was a people pleaser, right? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of us are. A lot of us be so scared to lose our team members, lose our clients, because we think that they're gonna judge us, and we don't stay with the system, you know, a lot of times because we want to serve. Mm-hmm. And I think having that structure and being able to let people go, being able to say no, be able to grow, allow yourself growth, I think is the biggest thing. Not being scared to pivot, not being scared to find new team members for the new level you on is a big thing, right? When did you know you wanted to take a pivot?
Over just the past few months, I kind of started to feel less motivated or kind of just out of place with the things that I did set in place. And I just kept feeling like this isn't working, it's not working. And I'm trying to, make all these changes and try to make it right. And it just wasn't right. So I kind of had no choice but to put kind of a lot of things on the back burner and focus on the path that I'm moving towards.
How scary was it for you to pivot?
Very.
Like what kind of mental state that you had to be in to give it the green light, say, I'm about to do it now?
I did kind of wait until I was kind of like back up against the wall, because again, recovering people pleaser, but I kind of work better under pressure, which probably isn't such a good thing, but I feel like things happen when they need to happen.
Yeah. How big is mindset to you?
Oh, extremely big. Because if you're always negative all the time and looking at all the things that's going wrong, I feel like that's all you're going to attract.
Yeah.
And you can't ever be focused on the positive. So you can't ever look forward if you're always looking back.
Yeah. They say 85% of the thoughts we think daily is negative. And it's like, I think it's called Millionaire Habits by Dean. It's about feeding a good wolf and a bad wolf. And we tend to always feed the bad wolf. And he's fed, he gets the strongest because we feed him with negativity, poor thoughts. And we tend to overlook the good wolf, which is positivity, encouragement. And as entrepreneurs, we always think about the bad outcomes of things. Never like, oh, this gonna go right. I know it's gonna go right. I'm 100%, because we be using fear as an excuse or the unknown. Well, I don't know. Well, and then we want to give ourselves like a soft cushion to land on if it do go that route. When we gotta feed that good wolf. We gotta stay positive. We gotta be like, it's gonna work or it's gonna work.
Right.
No other option. And I know you're a reader. What are some of the books that you use to help you empower yourself mentally?
So I'm actually not too big on books.
Yeah.
A lot of my research was, like articles and things like that. But I would watch a lot of actually like other people's interviews and just speaking on like, their experiences, their insecurities and how they kind of moved out of that mindset. So it was just, motivating for me. So, trying to avoid things that are just really negative, and just focus on things that, feed my soul and feed my mind and my body, has definitely helped a lot with that for sure.
That's big. For the last 4 years, right, in your business, what was that point where you had seen your most success? What did you do in marketing to get there?
I would probably say Essence Fest.
Okay.
Which was actually just a few months ago.
Okay.
And it honestly wasn't even marketing, it was more networking. So the way I even got the opportunity, I reached out to this lady on Facebook. She's actually in the Spa Boss tribe. I literally asked her a question about something that she had posted, and she was like, well, since you're here, do you want to come to New Orleans with me and work Essence Fest? And I wasn't going to take it. So, I talked to some people, including like my clients, and it did kind of push me in the direction because I literally had 2 weeks to, figure it out whether or not I was going to go. But just being in the room with some like the executives and the talent and just the great minds that were there, I would say it was a very successful event for me.
I love it. So you had 2 weeks to yay or nay.
It's a recurring theme. It's 2 weeks.
Right. So for you, what made you say, I'm just going to do it?
I had a conversation with a really good friend, maybe like a few weeks prior to that. She was saying, you're going to have to start trusting your gut and just kind of if it's like an immediate yes, then go ahead and do that. Yeah. But if not, if they're like resistance, then maybe that's not, a thing for you. So being presented with that opportunity, and it was an immediate yes, but I still kind of had
doubts,
yeah. Right? Because I didn't know that lady from a can of paint. Yeah. So yeah.
I say our angels come in different forms, and when I say angels, people that give us some type of opportunity to take us mentally, spiritually to a new level. And sometimes we can let doubt, fear stop us from growing, because it's like, oh, if I get exposed to this, oh my gosh, it's endless. You can never go back. So it's like, I remember my first big marketing campaign. Man, 6 figures, right? We spent, right? And this is my big one. So we took over big old billboards on the highway, city buses, like not digital. Like this was on the highway in prime time Atlanta, right? You know anything about Grady Hospital? Mm-mm. Well, right, you'll see it's a big old billboard. It's digital now, but at that time it was stagnant. And in the prime time, prime real estate, billboard $25,000 a month, right? Just a billboard, not including the city buses, right? And all of the bus stops, right? And when I did this, I said, I got to bet on me. I can't play small. From that campaign, what that taught me is I don't think twice about investing. I go all in. Then from there, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on mentors, the top of the top mentors, right? And when we realize the money is supposed to be used as the tool, we got to use it as a tool, right, instead of holding it and using it as a pillow. Exactly. Right. And the only way we can do that is if we get challenged with things that we ain't never done before. Like you probably was thinking like, man, I got to go here now. What about my clients? Then I got to pay for this flight. I got to pay for this hotel. I got to pay for my stay there. I got to pay for this. Still got to pay over here. Got to pay. Like we think about all of this other stuff when what about if I have some new relationships that can scale me? Exactly. Matter of fact, I'm going to find the new relationships, right? No matter what. Like wherever, any room I go to, I'm taking over the room without a doubt. I'm here for a reason, and that's to infiltrate and dominate. That's it, in a great way. But we have to take our opportunities, and we have to be the ones to blow them up. Right. We can't wait for somebody to blow us up. Right. And I think that was probably a big thing for you. How did you use content to impact your business?
Well, I'm funny. So, just making people laugh, I think is a very easy way to get engagement. So when I first started out, I was doing all these TikToks and Reels and all that stuff. So that's where I gained a lot of my traction. And then once I kind of started to gain the community and just like an audience and more clients, I would trickle in education, which is very important to me because I've realized in this industry, a lot of people just sell you treatments and they don't sell you on how it's going to work for you. So I would definitely say that's how content has helped.
I love that. And I think the reason why they sell just the product itself, because they don't realize that it's just a commodity. Anybody can sell a product. It's about you being unique. It's about you showcasing you. It's about you showing up and connecting with the client. And I don't think a lot of aesthetic professionals understand that. They think, hey, I got this new device and this device is supposed to sell itself. Nobody know what that is. That big old name. Nobody don't even know how to pronounce that device. Exactly. All of them letters and man, what? And then you would say the big word of what it fixed. I don't know what that means. I don't have that big old problem.
Hyperpigmentation.
Yeah, like what does that mean? Yeah. Like, and so it's up to the aesthetic provider to actually simplify it and talk directly to the hearts of the consumer. If you could put a spotlight on one of your superpowers, what would it be and why?
Being thorough. I think a lot of my clients stay with me because I explain everything during the treatment. I'm telling you what I'm putting on your face, why I'm putting it on your face, why you should probably take it home, and how it's going to help with your help you achieve your results. Because I'm always getting horror stories from my clients saying, yeah, they did this, but I don't really know what it was, and I don't think it did anything, but the person didn't tell them, yeah, you need at least 3 to 6 treatments, and you need to be here every 3 to 6 weeks. making sure that you're being consistent with your treatments in order to achieve your goals. So I would say being thorough and present with my clients during their treatment times is definitely one of my superpowers.
Yeah, I love that. That's dope. That's real big. If you can say a word, if you can say a message of encouragement to another aesthetic professional, what would that be? Look in this camera.
I would say stay in your lane. I've made mistakes in my past. I've swerved out of my lane. I've tried to do this because I saw somebody else doing it. Stay in your lane, and what's for you is going to find you, and keep your faith.
I love that. That's big. I want to thank you for coming to the Content Aesthetic Show today, for making time to serve, for not being scared to pivot, not being scared to believe in yourself, and imposter syndrome isn't real. You give whatever energy, the energy. And so as long as you believe in you and you have faith in you and the people that you serve, you will always be successful. You will always win. But you got to show up. Even when that storm be storming, just show up. Mm-hmm. Even when sometimes it's foggy and you don't know which route to go, you don't got the clarity, just keep showing up. I think I just want to thank you for just going and believing in yourself.
Thank you for having me.
I want to thank you for tuning in to the Content Aesthetic Show. And sometimes things happen and you don't know why it happened, but you're too busy want to figure out why it happened, which you should be saying, thank you, God, for making it happen. Your business is calling for a leader, but the only way for a leader to show up is if you to be present. And if you're not present, guess what? You are avoiding your mission. And so it might happen and you might got a 2-week notice where you got to leave your spot. You might have a 2-week notice where you got to be in New Orleans. It don't matter what it is. Get there and make a difference, make an impact, serve. And remember that moment as not as an obstacle, but as a motivational pinpoint. Remember that moment as a moment that uplifted you and turned you into a whole new person that you didn't even know existed. And so I hope this episode helped you become a stronger and better version of yourself. I'm Dontel Antonio, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Content Aesthetic Show.